So welcome, good morning. Got some nice heat this morning. The heat's very good for the body. We'll have a little bit of a break again in the middle, so it gets quite hot, and then we can walk around and do it again. For those of you that just come, I'll do a little bit of an introduction, but it just might take a few minutes for it to come. And then we'll just open it up to question and answer. And there's people in the computer, we're streaming it as well, so they might call in and ask questions too. So you guys in the question, I'm not taking written, in the questions, in the computer, I'm not taking written questions. You have to call if you want to speak, so send me a message saying call me, and I'll call you. So, it's very simple why the human being suffers and why and what happens. The human being suffers because of separation, and separation comes with complicated thinking. And the first or the main thought process is, I am somebody inside the body, and there is a separate world out there. So the first complicated thought is I, me, inside here, and world out there. And all that ever was, the I, was a practical description to describe what the body's done in time to improve hunting or to improve community. It was never a reality. There was never actually someone separate inside the body existing. But it seems like over time that description of the body has become more and more people, some bodies, and a separate entity seemingly have grown, this functioning, this storytelling of me inside the body and my life. And me in time. I was born, And now I'm 30, 40, 50, and I've had so many life experiences, and that is who I am. And in each moment, the world is viewed through that lens of me and my life. And it always feels like a negotiation with the world. Me in relationship with other people, me in relationship with time, me in relationship with objects. And it's become so strong. At the beginning, I'm sure it was just thoughts. It was just, the body did this, or I did this, I did that. But now it's become an energetical sense. So it feels like there's actually a separate entity choosing inside the body, and choosing action, and choosing to do things. And scientists now say that it can be, the brain activity of choice can be 6 seconds prior to the thought of choice. So 6 seconds they can see a choice is made in the brain, and then there can be the thoughts of which one shall I choose? I'll choose apple juice or something. But it was already made in the brain. But those thoughts and energies gave the appearance that somebody was actually having free will and choosing. And that somebody's actually inside the body. And with that person, things have meaning. Life has meaning. There's me inside my body, and I have meaning. I'm going somewhere in the future. I've got a purpose in life. And maybe people here, their purpose is to awaken. But maybe before it was to have kids, or to bring up my kids well, or to live a religious or Christian life, or to earn a certain amount of money. The person always has purpose and meaning, and everything means something. Somebody's actions mean something. They did that to show me that they love me, or they did that to show me they don't love me. Everything is meaning, and everything becomes important. And everything becomes an interpretation through language. Life is no longer as it is, it's an interpretation of that person. It's filtered through that person and its way of seeing the world. And basically that's what suffering is. It's very simple. It's separation. And it only happens in the human being. It only happens in the human bodies. Animals and trees and the sun and the light don't have that projected in, that storyteller, that one that believes it's separate. There's just life, and there's no distance, there's no separation, there's just life appearing. It's not appearing for someone, it's not appearing to someone. It's not right or wrong or good or bad. It's not, it shouldn't be another way or not be this way. It just is as it is. And it appears and disappears. But for the human being, it's life. The person imagines life completely horizontally. It's always seeing things in relationship to time, in relationship to me. It's looking at life through this horizontal world. And the freedom is what's happening. And it always is what's happening, even with the dream of the horizontal. But for some reason, this is just a reminding that the horizontal isn't the reality. The you in time isn't a reality. The you in time was always a dream, and not a truth in any way. So when the identification happens, when that me energy or that personal energy comes up of I am this body, the sensations of the body become the most important thing. So the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts become the most important thing. The light, the room, the other bodies are all secondary to my body and my sensation. And the most important thing is what I feel, what I think, what I have. And so that activity focuses on obtaining pleasure and obtaining nice things and obtaining good feelings for the body. And it's always looking at the environment to make sure it's safe and pleasurable. And it's always trying to avoid pain and uncomfortableness. And it believes that one day it will set things up, it will be able to control things and just have total pleasure. These one day it will finally get everything lined up, it will finally get a big enough house, or it will finally get enlightenment, and it will just have pleasure, pleasurable sensations. And pleasure and pain have got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Sensations and the control of sensations have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Pleasure and pain come and go, and there's no freedom in pleasure. The freedom is, this is so weird, is what's happening, is what's appearing. It's not in controlling the appearance. But it's so obvious that when the thinking activity of me and my life happens, that there will just be more and more of a focus on obtaining pleasure. That's obvious that that would happen. As soon as there's the ability to think about the body, and that body is me, then of course there's going to be a strong movement into just obtaining pleasure. It would be silly if it didn't. Of course it's going to do that. And for some reason, life decides in some human beings to speak about this and remind them that it's not really them that's being reminded, because there's no separate them, to remind itself that that freedom was never in the obtaining of pleasure, never in the body. Freedom was in what is. And the sweetest thing about what is, or what's actually happening, is it's an absolute mystery. This can never be known, what's happening. It can never be understood. It just is. It can never be understood why this is appearing or how this is appearing. It's just appearing. And that's very scary to a human being that believes that it can control and understand the world by thoughts, by understanding. To hear that this is a mystery is like being in a field with 10 wild horses running and bucking. It feels so out of control. The idea that at any second the body could disappear, and why did it appear and where's it going? That all of this will turn to dust, as Alan Watts was saying last night. That it could all turn back to nothing at any moment is incredibly scary for a human being that has been taught and believes it can control this. It can get somewhere in this. And that it exists. And that it's more important, its existence is more important than nothing, which is the source of everything. That you being alive and you having this experience is more important than the no thing. Than it all turning back to dust, than it all disappearing. That you maintaining life is more important than the disappearance of the body. What a lie. Everything is disappearance. Everything is dust. Your life, I'm so sorry to be so harsh, is not important. Your body is not important. Your life is what's created this suffering. Your freedom is the fact that it turns to dust. Isn't that crazy? That it's all dying constantly. Your mind's like, no. I'm way too important here to die. I can't die. What will happen to me? I've got to be something. What about my parents? What about my lover? What about my kids? What about my dog? What about? What about not obtaining enlightenment before I die? What about not knowing the truth of things? And none of it, that is not freedom at all. That's the activity of me and the world. It's all about the loss. Oh. As a child, my parents weren't religious, but for some reason, the quote, that was it, I went to Catholic school, and there was a quote, to know God, and this is a little bit dualistic, it's not somebody that could know God, because it is God, but it said, to know God is to live in a perpetual state of loss. And I knew exactly what it meant. And it's not me that knows it, but everybody knows it. It's all about the loss. The person's like, no. It's about me making sure I stay here, and my things stay here, and I'm not left on the street starving. And I have dignity, and you cannot find it in any of that. That's the struggle. It's okay for the body to die. It's okay for the body to die in a non-dignified way, because you are everything. You're not the body. And everything turns to dust. Everything. All of it. And it's constantly in this moment turning to dust. Everyone's going to be like, what's dust, Lisa? I mean to nothing. I mean, in England it's a saying, it turns to dust means to disappear, because often you can't see dust. Well, you can, but that's what they mean by that. What was I saying? I forgot. It went. This is all disappearing. The death is here. The nothing, the dust is here. So I said these words and it's gone. It never even happened. It's that immediate. It's gone. Did it ever happen? It's gone. It's gone. There's an imagination now that it happens, and that's where it's at. It's gone though. Oh, it's happening right now. There's nothing to be afraid of this disappearance. It's always this disappearance. And then he's like, no, I've got to hold on to me. Who? An imagination? There's no freedom in the imagination. The freedom is the nature of everything. There's no freedom in behaviour, in being nice, in any of that stuff. Because you don't exist, you've always been a lie. There's just a description of the body. That's it. That's not you, the description of the body. The feelings aren't you. They appear in this, they're you as everything is you, or everything is it. No one thing, nothing. But you're not just this limited body with certain feelings. I know it seems insane, that thought, but it's really insane, the idea that you are that. Because the mind goes, but hang on, I'm sure there's a me here. I finish at my body and there's people looking at me and out there. But that's all in imagination. What's the actual experience? The actual experience is absolute emptiness with things appearing that are no things. It sounds so crazy. The actual experience is this. The actual experience is no border. No you. You is only ever been an imagination, an interpretation. There's not Lisa speaking now up there. That's a practical description that we could use, but actually in the experience, is there a Lisa there speaking and a you there listening? There's speaking and hearing happening simultaneously with no separation. There's looking, the looked at and looking. There's the seeing of Lisa's body, But is there any separation in the moment from the seer and the seen? It's the same thing. In practical discussion, okay, Lisa's sitting talking, okay, that's fair enough, but that's not a reality. In the moment, that's not the reality. That everything's turning to nothing, everything is nothing, is the gift. That's the beauty of this. That really is the beauty of this. And it's the nature of everything, that nothingness, that disappearance. It's like this. I know I showed you yesterday and my screen's maybe dirty. It's just all disappearing. All these shapes are being created, these beautiful appearances. And it's all disappearing. It's all one light moving, creating many different, seemingly many different lights. But it's just going, it's gone. It's not even appeared. This is what life's like. It's gone.
And Lisa,
yeah.
to see the world in the way you just described it, right?
Yeah.
The I energy has to drop, right? It's only once I energy has dropped that you can see
no,
this.
No, you can begin to get a sense of it. It's like, you know, when you're listening to music, and you might not even understand the language or the notes or anything, but there's a sense of it, beyond all the intellect or anything. There's like or a poem or something, when someone's saying a poem, and it makes no sense, the poem, all these words put together, but you can hear it, not through sense. So I would suggest that all the bodies hear, and it's not even the body hearing it. I would suggest that this is being heard beyond all that, otherwise this would just sound like rubbish. This is being heard, like everything is hearing this, everything is, or nothing is hearing, is remembering. It's not even remembering, it's just, it's almost like it celebrates with joy, this, remembering itself, even though it never really forgot. And there's this knowing, not an intellectual knowing. So it can be heard even when the person's still veiling and appearing, but it's not the person hearing in any way. It's not the body, it's everything hearing itself. It really doesn't make sense. Hello.
You say the brain 6 seconds before.
Sorry? 6 seconds before,
the
yeah?
The brain 6 seconds.
Up to 6 seconds, yeah. Has already chosen.
So, does it mean the thoughts, the thoughts are predetermined?
The thoughts are, so the brain, the activity of choice is made in the brain, and then the brain also produces, after the choice has been made, the appearance of somebody choosing. So the choice is made, and then it's so beautiful the way it happens. A thought comes up and goes, should you choose the apple juice or orange juice? And then a thought appears and goes, let's go with the apple juice. And that gives the appearance that somebody's actually chosen. But it's always going to be that choice that's already made.
Yes. Already made.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So,
But there's not actual predetermination because there's only this moment. This is energy expressing itself. There's only one energy always expressing itself in each moment spontaneously. But yes, predetermination is an easy way to say it. Ramesh used to use that word, and I understand what
even
he
for in word thoughts.
thought.
Yes, also. Okay.
Yeah, predetermination. I'm happy with.
Yes,
But ultimately, it's
very interesting, in fact.
yeah. When it disappears,
Yes.
it's all gone. It's changed into something else.
Oh.
So it's always spontaneous. But
Not only the action of the body and the inner actions also.
yeah. What's
The thoughts. Sorry about that.
what's the question?
Yes, you have answered.
Okay.
Yes.
I've answered.
Thank you. I mean, inner feelings and out things are like this chair.
It couldn't be any other way.
Exactly.
It couldn't be any other way. Yeah.
Even
Even if there's an appearance of somebody, there's an illusion of somebody in absolute agony, it couldn't be any other way ever.
very good, yeah. The sons are happy. So.
Have we got any questions in the room? Because I think we've got some people on Skype. Good morning. Okay, we'll pull someone on Skype. It's so amazing that this can happen. Hi, Roland. Hi, Ricarda. Hi, Benny boy. Nice to see you, Ben. Hi, Maya. Hi, Lisa. Didn't know you went on so early. Where are you? We're in Belgium and we've been streaming all, but I'm not recording any of them, so you have to watch them live. Jetzt-TV is, but that will be a few weeks before that's up. But hi, Maya. Oh no, there's nobody wanting. So any questions are welcome. And I know it seems like I'm answering them, but it's actually all you without you.
Is there ever a time witnessing is not happening?
Yeah.
When?
Well, I don't know what you mean by witnessing. I never really had that terminology. But witnessing is always disappearing. Witnessing is still a position. But because what is witnessing to you?
It's just, I guess, there's just this awareness that of this.
No, well, what? There's actually never awareness of this. The awareness of this is only ever an interpretation after. There's actually no witnessing, it's more intimate than that. But witnessing or consciousness or all these words are a really great way to start talking about it. Because just to try and talk about no witnessing straight away,
Because there's not even an interpretation, it's just...
But how do you know you're witnessing now? Or how do you know witnessing is happening now? Who would even be witnessing? This is when I begin to question consciousness, because actually in the moment there's just merging without even knowing there's merging. There's a disappearance of everything. Then there can be what the experience is here is then when practicality is needed or planning is needed, there's a little bit awareness of the body. But most of the time, there's just a disappearance into all things, and then all things collapse, and there's no things. God, I sound like just nonsense, but you might get a sense of that.
Yeah, even before all the practicalness of having to notice and order it and realize I'm awake and I'm on or all that, it's before, prior to that, it's just this onness, this.
But how do you know the onness?
Because you're alive is.
How do you know that? This is where the world begins to disappear and it gets really funky. How do you know that?
Well, I'm not even going to say I'm alive. It's just
aliveness. But how does
this.
that?
This is.
How do you know it is? I know this sounds like absolute twaddle, but as you begin to go into it, it's because what often happens is there's still a little bit of a divide of something knowing this. The world begins to collapse, and you know how like lots of speakers say no world, or there is no world. Is you can't possibly know that this is. You can't even know it is. I know I say all that. But in the moment there's an absolute disappearance of all world. What happens still here, though, and I've heard some speakers like Tony Parsons say that disappears as well, is that when this practicality comes up, some awareness of the body comes back. So when there's practical planning, like I am body or something comes back a little bit. But most of the time, there isn't any world. There isn't even witnessing. There's a disappearance of everything. Where is any position now? Where is anything? You would only ever know that in thought. It's still an idea. It's taking some seat. Otherwise, there's nothing. I know I sound like such a loon sometimes.
No,
This
is coming in on some intellectual way, and of course it's very difficult to talk about any of this in words.
Yeah, but there's a sense of it as we're looking at each other, everything, the whole room, the whole witnessing, isness, everything is disappearing. It comes back to like this light. Just
I guess for me, even this awareness of there is no me and there's just this. It's utterly simple, utterly silent.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
I guess this to me just by because there's this experience that there's a awareness or witnessing.
Yeah, when we come to talk about it, but and in the communication, and we're putting it into words, but then in the actual moment, that all becomes nonsense, and it's
it's just
yeah.
Even feelings become nonsense then.
Yeah, there are no there's no difference between feeling and felt. It's everything.
Our interpretation.
Yeah.
Within itself.
And if there's anger, everything is anger. And that's even a very limited word, anger.
Lisa, thank you. I love the way you talked about it, because I instantly saw that when you use the word witnessing, it creates separation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still, but it's such a convenient way to begin to talk about this stuff, like the witness, or I mean. It's so hard to talk about, but then at the end of the day, that too is a thought or an idea that's still in play.
Yeah, it's more that when you just are, and then you would have to tell someone what's happening, then you might use maybe the word
Witness or
witnessing.
what isness.
When you are in your head and feel separated, and you hear the word witnessing, it's about separation.
Yeah.
And bring it close.
Yeah.
And
Also, witnessing can sound like an activity as well. Yes.
Lisa, because there's nobody there, then
Yeah.
you wouldn't be amazed by what is happening and also not frightened by it, right? Because they're
Well, fear can come up, but there's not somebody that's like the body or fear, sensations, any sensations can appear, or anything can appear.
no, I mean I mean by the way you perceive things. There's no not frightened or amazed by this. You don't go like, oh, this is amazing, because there's nobody who thinks that, oh my God, things are coming, disappearing, yeah, and all that somebody's there thinking, oh, this is so frightening because things are disappearing and appearing, because there is nobody. But who then can say, oh, it's amazing the way it is, or it's frightening.
Yeah. But I mean, that could be said, but that kind of, often when there's awakening, the person comes back and then you hear them telling everyone how amazing it is. Da, da, da. Often. And then
That's when the person comes
Yeah.
back. But if that person is not there, then it's just
It's just
the
as it is.
reality. That's just the way it is. Because it sounds beautiful and also frightening at the same time to realize that. And the way you describe it and the way I imagine it to be, it's almost like wow. And then also again I think, oh, but is that not frightening to realize that?
But
But then if there's no person, then
What's-
there is nobody who then go on wondering about this.
Yeah. But what's so amazing is it's your nature. So you're imagining it, and then you're imagining that Lisa has it more or something, but it's right there now. It's right here now, that nothingness, that emptiness. And just all that's happening is an activity appearing of dividing me, you, and trying to make sense of stuff. But that wild freedom is here right now, that nothingness. Are these sounds gone, right? Winnie's gone. There's just looking happening. Not even looked at and someone looking, there's just this happening. And then all of the whole life of Winnie and Lisa has disappeared. There's just this. Everything has disappeared. There's just eyes, not even eyes, that's even a divide.
But because there's still this I energy,
It
I
pops up.
think that
It's happening to
I'm
you.
processing it. I'm listening to your words, and I'm absorbing them, and I'm
Yeah.
doing this whole cognitive thing to
Yeah.
understand what you're saying. But you're saying
It's not, that's not the way it is, because this sound isn't, it's not Winnie listening to Lisa's sounds. These sounds are you. Like you without Winnie. I say you because I just cannot even begin to get a word to fit that. These sounds are it or you. So it's not Winnie sitting there listening to Lisa's sounds and Winnie's processing it. These sounds are you. And even this game of Lisa and me is in you too. It's all you, but not Winnie. It's just that you're playing the game, or the amness or beingness or whatever words we call it, which don't just talk about it. Well, nothingness is playing the game of somebody or a body feeling like it's separate, and a body feeling like it's got to get somewhere. It's an absolute illusion. Those thoughts and feelings and sensations are appearing in it and are it in exactly the same way that these sounds of Lisa are appearing. It's all appearing in it, right? And that this appearance is you, all of it. This sound, it's appearing. Then Winnie goes, I'm hearing. Winnie's not hearing, you're not hearing it. Winnie's appearing in it. I'm like, tack, 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 tack. We'll take a little break in a minute to hose ourselves down. Maybe somebody out there can you coffee on or something? Oh, you're so sweet. Well, there's
So in that way, liberation is everybody knows already very well. Then
it's the nature
already
of
very
everything.
familiar.
It's just that, so nothingness has just created a body. It's created all of this, and one of the creations is a body. And in the human body, it's created complicated thinking and memory. Memory isn't the actuality, it's created memory. So it's created in the brain the idea that it can remember things. If there wasn't a memory, this would just all be disappearing. The nature of everything is the disappearance, but it's so beautifully created a memory and a thought that can compare.
Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
From the stroll in the forest or...
Yeah. From driving the car, I mean,
Driving
who
a
drives
car.
the car?
Yes.
Just from walking. As a kid, I used to walk along and if nobody else found it funny, I would be like, look, the legs are walking, the legs are walking. And we're like, okay, Lisa, they're walking. There's somebody in there walking. And then we'll be like, quiet, Lisa, that's weird. Stop saying it. But I'm walking. And it's not even the person that knows this. It seems at first maybe that the person is understanding this, but then that all collapses. It's just the way of it.
When you say all collapses, you mean the conceptual world collapses. And what remains is what is real.
And then conceptual worlds can come back, but it's not the reality anymore. It's not the way things are. It's so amazing the way that nothingness has created a brain which can remember and think and give the appearance that all of this is actually, that all of this makes sense, or all of this can be remembered. But then when it kills the brain, or when the brain dissolves, and it just goes back to that nothingness. Amazing. And that nothingness is not, it's like you hear this and it's, the mind looks at it like Alan Watts was saying last night. The mind looks at it like nothingness is something separate from me, and something that takes over from me, like takes me away. The nothingness is you. It is. It's not that it's something that's going to take you away. This whole body is nothing. These whole thoughts are nothing. Yeah. So cute, that.
The funny thing is that it's almost like we require a lot of, it's like computer programming to believe that we are something. There's many processes at work which has then ultimately tricked us into believing that we're in time and that we're in bondage and I am this person.
Yeah.
And we don't even see the mechanicalness sometimes of our behaviours. We think they're really real, and it's strange when you see this is just like a computer programming.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's just chemicals and sensations giving the appearance. Giving that appearance is quite amazing. I love it looking at dogs. My mum has a plumpy little dog called Muttley, who's a bit deaf and blind, And if you face the body towards the front door, she barks. Woof, woof, woof. The door equals barking. Woof, woof, woof. My mum's like, why is she always doing this? Da, 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 da. Then you just turn the body to face the wall and she stops. Then you turn it back to the door. Woof, woof, woof. My mum's like, why does she do this? She's always barking. Da, 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 da. It's just a program. The door means bark. Woof, woof. And you turn it around and up. This is what humans are like. It's just a set of reactions happening. It's amazing how it's all been created and completely not personal.
Yeah.
So your lover, so much of suffering is around relationships. So your lover never did anything to you. They're just chemical reactions happening. I know, it's like you know when you look at the lake, like in New Zealand, and those hot waters are bubbling away. That's just what the other bodies are like, and then we're like, why did they do it to me? Why are they doing this to me? But there's just, and then they're shouting, there's no bananas left, you ate all the bananas! Whatever, why? They're shouting at me, they don't need to speak to me like that. They're just like Muttley. There's no bananas left and that's the outcome. Muttley faces the door and woof, woof, woof. And the freedom of it is nothing, the fact that it disappears. The person though is like, the person, which is just a chemical reaction as well though, this just the person comes up and goes, why did they speak to me like that? They do not love and respect me. We need to talk about our emotions and sort this out, or we need to go for therapy, and it's just a reaction. And the freedom is the nothing. The freedom's not sorting it out. It'll never be sorting out. Life's messy. It's so messy.
I think also what doesn't help with the conditioning is, as well as all of these computer programmings, it's things like the food and the drugs we have exacerbates that programming as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Like when you wake up, you understand everything, or that it never happened, blah blah. When you wake up, you see there's only love, even that can be anger or whatever, but no blah, no, the topics, not blah blah blah. I understand, blah blah blah. But like, in a way, I feel like this is maybe my, I want to blame God or my father or my whatever. It's like, in the meantime, when you're not waking up, there is still, in my case, or in the world, blah blah blah, so much suffering, and it's like, this, in a way, when nothing, it's like a mean game. It's like, how? When there is nothing and we go for, you know what I mean? It's like, it's why? I mean, it's also an ego question. Why? And I have to shut up, blah blah. You know what I mean? It's like this. It's almost unbearable to. I mean, I'm probably afraid to wake up, but like, maybe I don't want to wake up. I probably don't want to wake up. Probably I'm even saying this, I feel like a drama queen, I feel a total fake. Too, like, I don't know. It's like, well, it would be so evil. It's stupid. I mean, it's like, how do you say it? It's like, I spoke with a friend and she said, even there is a God, or there isn't. No, there is no in between, there is no in middle ground. It's real, but you tell me, oh, it's not real. What can I do? Nothing. But it's like, you know, otherwise, you know what I mean? I know what I mean, but fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm very angry or sad or lazy, and it's even coming here. It's crazy. It's so crazy. It's like there is one authority I want to blame, like fuck, why? But because I feel always guilty. And when I'm creating perfect, fuck, maybe I never will get it. And you know, yeah, okay, this is what I wanted to express.
And
it's like the yeah, blah blah blah.
No, but the blah blah
yeah,
blah is so well.
It's a mean game, and it's not a game, but it's still a lot of suffering. Even if maybe it's not true, but it feels like true.
Yeah, that's what it's feeling.
Yeah.
Like at the moment, yeah.
And even like, and then I stopped because I can't go on for hours. Like, even like Paul is giving his money to India, to the poor people. I don't know if it's good or not good. What? No, that's almost relative. Doesn't make sense.
And maybe they're better off without all these things. Maybe they're better off without all these things. We just, you know. I could say lots of the body could say lots of non-dual things back, but it doesn't come to it. That's what's being felt there, and that's it. That's what's being felt. It's like it's fucking unfair.
Yeah, I mean, when there is this.
When there's
you say it's a nice game, it's a nice. I mean, you all the brain and the thoughts come. It's all very nice, and still there's in my environment. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Why can you not?
You couldn't be anywhere else. Couldn't be hearing anything else.
But when the suffering is not real, I mean, then I still want to, and then I stop. I know that. Then like when there would be a God, blah blah. I know the God is not. He's a mean God. Maybe I'm still a little don't want to take responsibility. I'm still angry.
Lisa, shall we take a pause?
Yeah. Yes, we should take a pause. You're so welcome to express that. I don't always want to it's not the feeling to dismiss it or to say the non-dual stuff. It's like, if that's what's felt, frustration, that's it. If it's like, God's fucking unfair, that's what's happening.
I know it's not unfair, but another part.
But in the moment, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And then it changes, and then there's drinking a cup of coffee, and then it's not unfair, there's just coffee. But in that moment, if there's this isn't fair, then that's what it is. This isn't fair. And for me to then say to you, it's not happening or anything, it's just another fucking story. Yeah. So guys, we'll be back in like 5-10 minutes.
This looks better than real life. That's the only reason why I'm feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So realizing that this me is the illusion, it does not exist. Seeing nothing is about it. Next time you come into suffering, there's nothing you can do.
Because it's all just appearances, so there's no connection between it all. So there's not somebody in there that could do something. That might be thoughts, so there's thoughts of, and energies of suffering coming up, and then the thought might come up that this is all comes to nothing and it might relieve it a bit. But there's not somebody in there that's creating any of the appearances.
So if there's nothing, there's one to experience suffering.
Yeah, and it's just nothing creating all these different experiences, and there's not someone in there that can choose to not suffer or make suffering less or do something about it. If there was, then no one would suffer.
Yeah.
It appears, and then there might be an appearance of non-duality words when the suffering's happening, and it might make it less or it might make it more, but that's just appearances happening too.
So it's just karma, or it doesn't?
It's just energy acting out, just or nothing, acting something out.
Like a fireworks.
Yeah, yeah, just like that.
Just be with it.
Sorry?
So just be with it and just...
You couldn't even be with it, because who would be with it?
Yeah, yeah.
There would be another thought that reports back, I'm going to be with it now.
Yeah.
And then there's just a thought, and then that comes and goes. It's just a happening.
There's such a habit of doing things and
Yeah.
to...
And that's all it is a habit of energy moving that way. And sometimes listening to this can feel a bit frustrating because that habit wants to be told what to do. That habit wants a destination. So it wants, okay, you've got to meditate for 2 hours every time it happens or something, and then the habit repeats, I've got to meditate, that's okay, I've got to meditate, and it has an activity, it has something to do. In this message, often there's nothing for that energy to grab onto, so it's then like, and then it keeps looking. It's like, okay, so what she's saying is I've got to do nothing.
Schumann, can you please close the thing? Let it down. Let it down the screen.
Just like life in it. For no reason. Disappears.
No, you can do it over.
Can start over again.
So what's the point of the spiritual path?
Sorry?
So what's the point of the spiritual path? Buddhists meditating all their lives?
Yeah. But there's no point to anything, but if that's what's happening, then that's what's happening. Just like if being a mother's happening, being a mother's happening. Or being, or yeah, or working, whatever is happening. There's not anyone that could direct it and work out the right point or work out the best point. It's just a happening. If the body's doing meditation, that's what's happening. It couldn't be any other way. And the person often believes the meditation will lead to something, but it's the very act of the meditating. It's the very act of whatever's appearing. It's the very act of being the mother. But it's not that to think that it was a waste of time is to think again in destination. It was as it was, it is as it is. Everything's a waste of time ultimately. Everything's for nothing, but it's not like I did all that meditation and it's not going to lead me anything. It is back in that dynamic that you've got somewhere to go. There's not even a you there. The you is an illusion. Who would possibly get anywhere? Who are you? Who would you be? A thought, a description, I've got somewhere, I'm enlightened now. And then there goes, and there's eating dinner. Who gets somewhere? The body?
Realizing that is freedom.
Sorry?
Realizing that is freedom.
I'm not so much into the word realization, I just more into because realizing often I associate with intellectual understanding, but maybe we could say realized, but it's more just a collapse of a lie. And it's not, realize sounds more like you know something. And it's not that you end up knowing something or understanding something, it's just a collapse of an illusion. But, I mean, realise means different things to different people. To other people, it doesn't mean understanding.
But it's so freeing. I mean, understanding, no, it comes from here, but just that all this meditation and all these, I mean, it was like an immense burden. And when, woof, I thought this is just bullshit. It is so freeing. I mean, it's living. You know, suddenly there was a realization. For 60 years I've been doing, you know, this and that and all these rituals and all this blah blah and blee blee and wow, it's oh, I mean, it's like 10 rucksacks out of oh. That is really amazing. All the rest is it's just.
It was all leading to the same place, nowhere.
Exactly, nowhere. And then, and at 4,000 meters in the snow, meditating for 10 hours, and it's so crazy, so crazy. I've done, and I know how other people have done too. You know, just to reach this bloody happiness.
Yeah, the mentality loves, you've got to suffer to get there.
Exactly.
It's such a Christian mentality that you've got to suffer to get there.
To be beautiful, you have to suffer.
Be deserving, huh? You deserve it, huh? It's the idea of deserving.
Yeah.
The idea that it can be freely given, it's just freely received. That's so counter our culture.
Yeah.
We have to deserve everything.
Yeah.
And that life is a marketplace. I give you this and I get that in return.
Yeah.
I do a good deed, I get good karma points in return. It's all about deserving. And all of a sudden, the most undeserving, what's deserving what?
Yeah. Yeah.
For a seeker who's on this path,
Yeah.
how does he know, or how does she know that it's the end of the seeking? How would one know? Would that be then when...
And it's only, oh, how do you know when it's collapsed?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it can only, I don't know, it can only be known, I suppose, in a comparison. Because it's just the way it is. When that illusion's gone, then it's just this. And then I suppose it can only be known in a comparison when someone asks or something. Comparison story. Of the before and after. I suppose that's what makes the human's liberation different from the animal.
And would that also mean that that would be truly the end of seeking, or
No, I don't know.
would the seeking go on still?
The seeker could come back. This body could die, and then whoop, another body appears. Who knows how it goes? I know it's a very speakers out there that say when it's the end, it's the end. But end? What ends? Who? End is just a concept. Who knows how this is happening? And also the person wants that end, that final, because it wants to cross a finish line. This isn't about finish lines.
But like when you seek in this way, coming to satsangs or to these talks, then there's still the knowing that nothing has collapsed yet, or because that seeking energy is still there.
Only in the storyline, the person comes back up and says, "I'm not liberated," and all those sort of things. And then when there's drinking cup of coffee, and all of that's completely irrelevant. But then it comes back up and says, "Yes, I'm not liberated," or "I feel uncomfortable," or "I don't want this to be like this, I want to feel differently." And then sometimes it's not there, sometimes it's listening to this talk or sitting outside and that's all there is. It's never noticed though. You would notice it. It's not the way I speak or this body speaks isn't so satisfying. Because a lot of the questions, I don't know, actually all the questions I don't know answers to. But some of them I appear to give something and everyone's out. But particularly this one, I don't know what the future is. I don't know. I don't know about ends. It's often, you notice when people start talking about their experience as well, this body goes quiet. Because also, that's what's seemingly happening in that body, that experience. I don't know how to end that experience or influence anything. All that this body can really, and when I say I don't even know who I'm talking about, all this body or nothingness can point to is this, what is, which isn't knowable but is. Like, that's all really we can talk about. I know I sound like I'm saying so much more, like, so many other things, and I answer questions, but really all that we can talk about is this, the freedom that's this, what is. All the how-tos, what if, ends, beginnings. None of us do though. Even the most enlightened Dalai Lama, who's got millions and millions of followers, or we're all innocent. Just innocence, nothingness, appearing and disappearing. Words coming up and then disappearing. Nobody actually knows anything. There's not even somebody there that could know anything. None of those words ever mean anything. But this, what is, the pointing back to that, that's not actually knowing anything, it's just trying to... Do you know what I mean? No? We get lost in each other's eyes, but that's it. That's it.
Yeah, but the thing which is so frustrating, I've seen, is that when you've been signed a paper that you are liberated, not only awakened, but liberated, and then the me comes back after 2 or 3 years, it is awful for that person.
Yeah.
Because how can you say exactly what you just said? You know, what about the future? We don't know what's going to happen. And then the me comes back, so this paper, this diploma is not worth it.
But the me must have been there subtly anyway to believe that bullshit, that you are liberated, that there is
because
liberated.
everywhere thinking, I'm liberated.
It's gone, it's done.
Yeah, it's done, I've got it now. Eh?
And then life is so compassionate, it goes boom. After 3 years.
It's terrible. Yeah, terrible. So it's much better the way you do it, because this way we don't know, and we don't know the future. Of course we don't know the future. It's so arrogant to think that we could sign a diploma that I'm liberated.
Yeah.
But who issues these diploma anyway? I mean,
it's me and Caroline are speaking in tongues. We don't know who we're speaking about.
Is this the oneness?
No, we'll both go vague now. And then I just don't want to say, like, speak about anything specifically.
Right.
It's about the end.
I know. I always feel ashamed about myself when I ask a question. Like a couple of years ago, a good friend of mine, he killed himself, and he was on a spiritual blah blah with thing, and then people said to me like, because he killed himself, I was with him and doing the Course in Miracles, blah blah, and then people said, because he wasn't killed himself, he has to come back, or he is in these layers between, reincarnation, blah blah, and come back, he has killed himself because he wasn't awake before he died. And then I called Tony Parsons, and he said to me, that is absolutely bullshit, he told me, and he said, there is only absolute love. So for me, that at that moment was a satisfying answer, not at the moment, not, I don't know, but it's like the person who killed himself was not there anymore, and in a way he said to me, it's the end, it's over, there's only absolute love. So that would be a satisfying answer for me. When you're dead, you're dead. And I mean, there's only absolute love. This fucking mind is gone. So is that
Well, who is it that you think died in your friend? I know I'm not answering.
I know. I mean, the Course is always. I was really influenced by that idea. It's like there's nothing outside of you, and he is me. Blah blah. So.
Who is it that died in the friend? Who was your friend that died? So you talk about a body that.
Yeah, he was. I don't feel him anymore. I never felt him. I mean, he's not there anymore. Yeah. He's somewhere, but I don't know. Maybe it's.
And who's he?
Who's he?
You're talking about the body when you say he?
Yeah, like his name was Nanda. Yeah.
So the body changed into something else?
No, it's.
Do you think there's a separate him from the body? When you describe him, who do you mean?
Like the question is more, so maybe I'm maybe not open to hearing. Like Tony gave me the satisfaction.
Yeah.
And it's over and it's fine, and he's absolutely fine. I mean, like that he wouldn't come back because he didn't his job in his lifetime. Yeah. He had to come back and do all the same shit again.
So who is he separate from the body? Who is he separate from the body? Who is your friend? Is he the body?
Yes and no. To me, he was the body.
The body?
Yeah, and not.
So then the body and not?
Yeah.
So, but then the body changed into something else. The body then died or disappeared.
Yeah.
Changed into something else.
Yeah.
And then who is this extra person that would be reincarnated? The body changed into something else, but who's the person separate from the body that you imagine that has all this reincarnation or anything?
I cannot, it doesn't come in. So.
Yeah. There's nobody inside the body.
So it was it only me then? Like he never existed? Like he was a puppet? Like a cartoon?
And there's no you either. Who's you? So the body changed into something else. So the body now is here as well, but in another form. You never lose anything. I'm sorry, I'm so confusing.
No. In another form, like love in my heart.
No.
Yeah, in another. Yeah, but
the body turns it to so all it is like one energy moving forms, like lots of atoms moving to lots of different forms. And so basically the body just turned into something else, but there's no him in there that was going through a spiritual path and awakening and has to reborn. There's no him, there's just chemical reactions in the brain. When the brain turns into something else, the whole memory of the body and the separate self goes with the body. So every time, so nothing ever dies, it just turns into something else. The only thing you know about the only thing you have of your friend now is an imagination of that body, and that's not a somebody. That doesn't equal a separate somebody. That doesn't equal someone. You have an imagination of their body and the movement of their body. I'm not finished. You think?
Yeah.
But yes, it's all love. But it's all love because it's all the same energy just moving. That's the love. It's like this. And then that's the colour of the friend of that body. That's the body. Oh, that's the body. You see? That's what it's like. There's the body. There's the body, now it's gone. There's the body, now it's gone. Huh? There's the body, now it's gone. It's all one energy.
So even when you're not like we are sitting here like seekers or blah.
Yeah.
So even a person who never goes into this, or like my mother or whatever, they're not into this at all. They just, when they die, they go.
Goes back into something else. There's freedom.
So when you die, when the body dies, it's over for everybody.
The personal self is just in the brain, and when the brain turns into something else, the whole memory and identity is wiped.
So you have only one life and not second or thousands.
But there's not even a you there that only has one life.
Okay.
But Lisa.
Yeah.
There can be seemingly a thought that says it's me.
Yeah.
And then that's a me.
Yeah.
And when a thought comes, it's not a me, it's a scene that there's only a thought appearing in this, then it's over.
Yeah.
Or something else happens.
No, that can happen. The thought comes up going, this is me choosing, and then another thought comes in and says, no, hang on, there's no me. And then for a moment it all dissolves, or maybe there's a little bit of energy contraction there. But the focus is normally on that, thinking. Me.
But the so-called person cannot do that himself.
No, and there's no solid person, it's always spontaneously happening in each
for
moment.
everybody.
Yeah. Not everybody, but most bodies have it, yeah.
I mean, and everybody is thought appearing and telling something about the
person.
The image.
Yeah, and it's not who you are, it's not a truth, it's just a thought that comes and goes with energies. Like it's an energy that comes with it.
Energy, and somehow there's it looks like a different energy that says, oh yeah, this is true and that's not true, and so it's something, a so-called system built up in memory, and there's a so-called life and a story, and in these apparently stories that people come to so-called satsang givers or light or liberate people, and they come to dissolve their so-called thought, which was never there, or not appearing as a reality.
No. Well, there's not a solid self ever. There's just chemicals and energy. And words appearing, saying me, spontaneously in each moment. There's a whole image of Leon's life, and then it's gone, and the image appears, and it's always being recreated in the moment.
Yeah.
It's not solid there to deconstruct,
Sometimes.
it's all void. Yeah, sometimes. It's all void, it all disappears. It's all, you know that toy I described just there?
Yeah,
That's always
nice
what's happening, yeah.
But
And the mind comes up and creates the whole world and goes, rah,
Yeah.
rah.
But I would say that when you've done this flip thing,
Yeah.
then in the morning it builds up. There is a life and there is a person and goes to work. And,
Yes, you can see it.
Yes.
But it's actually
So
always
there's
dying in every moment.
and nobody can do nothing because everything
not
is happening without nobody,
yeah, there's
without somebody.
Yeah.
But it can be really hard for the body and mind to accept.
Couldn't ever accept it.
Because
The
when I
person-
left Amsterdam 2 weeks ago after your talk, I really got completely crazy in my talk. I screamed. It was like I suffered so much from when I was little. It was like it does not make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
And it was so hard, but I let it come. And now I feel also my body almost wants to explode because it's such a strong change of what I went for all these years. Yeah, make searching sense, focus on the writing, focus on this, focus on that, everything which was not negative.
Yeah.
And it's like one big shock for me.
Yeah.
That now it's better, but when I left Amsterdam for 5 days, I could not talk.
Yeah.
It was like
Incredibly energetical, because it's all, the self is an energetical experience, and it's used to, the person thrives of having positive stories. I'm going to get enlightened one day, that this suffering means something, and it's going to get me
that's not the
somewhere.
point where I start screaming, because it was,
This means nothing?
yeah, and it's like the Israelis, they are always speaking about the suffering, and they have excuses for what they are doing,
Yeah.
like because we suffered, and I saw myself, you are just the same, you suffered so much, and you go your part, like look, I'm above that suffering, and I did so many things, and I'm like a mountain,
And it's led me to...
and it was really like
And then that can feel incredibly vulnerable, because suddenly you aren't making sense of the suffering, you aren't making sense of the pain, you aren't making sense of the craziness, and putting it into a story which has a happy ending.
yeah, it was like
Incredible vulnerability. But the freedom is there. I know it seems like the body's like, oh God, no it's not. The freedom.
Yeah, I feel now my body really wants to shake, and it has something like
that person that's always telling stories in order to make this what is bearable and better, it will like really buck against this, because to be naked without this hope, without this is where I've been, this is where I'm going, it seems incredibly scary, but it is the freedom. The nothing is the freedom, not the stories, not even the positive enlightenment stories. If I've come from this and here I've got to here, that's still in a game of flip-flopping of vulnerability. But this is totally energetical, the collapse of the self. I make it sound like it's a mental thing. It's totally energetical. It's the end of being trapped inside something. It's the end of this fake container.
Yeah,
and
it's like hard for the body.
Yeah, it's like an explosion.
Yeah.
Isn't it? But not even that though. The mind will be like, it's like an explosion, and then it'll be hoping about the explosion, bless its heart. And none of the stories are it. And then the less and less the energy is going into it, the more and more the body's like. Not all the time. In some stories that doesn't happen, but it's very energetical.
Lisa, as a child, I had that same feeling from the explosion, or to burn.
To what?
To burn. The body would burn if I had that freedom. And then I thought, oh, if I'm afraid of it, I will stop it. So then it stopped.
The body kept wanting to just...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because you died.
Yeah, but I thought maybe the body itself, the flesh couldn't cope. So
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. That also is a possibility.
yeah, so I got removed for it.
The body might die with it too, but it's okay. Then it's your freedom. Nothing is not the enemy. Nothing is the nature.
Lisa, when I'm sitting here, I can feel the need to give full attention to all this, but even this full attention is meaningless and pointless. It's
It's not that it's pointless as in like you shouldn't be doing it, it's what's happening.
It's what's happening, but
it's not you putting attention. It might feel like it's you.
Yeah, but it's actually not the urge to give full attention, it's more like the fear of dozing off and not paying it and falling asleep, you know? It's like the fear of missing out something.
Yeah.
It's more that than it is like giving full attention. See? Yeah.
And what happens when there's dozing off?
Well, actually, I'm starting to realize that this wouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah.
Maybe I would be snoring.
Yeah. But it's nothing.
Yeah. It's kind of liberating, you know. It's like it's a work that doesn't have to be done.
No, it doesn't. No. It's nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just happening.
Yeah.
It's not your efforts. That's so funny. Oh wow. I've been keeping you in here a long time. Let's see this.